One of the things I think many of us found very intriguing was the notion of the toasted cars. We're not talking about burnt cars. There was no heat. We're talking about toasted cars, which is a different process.
This is a car that was found on FDR Drive. I don't know if it got toasted there or not. The first responders saw the car go into spontaneous combustion and assumed that there must have been a fireball that rolled down the street and hit the vehicle, because why else would it have suddenly burst into flames?
Now let's talk about where that location is.
It's on the other side of Manhattan.
Right. So how many blocks are we talking about?
Oh, 7 blocks or so.
These vehicles are 7 blocks away from the towers.
The ones that this first responder had witnessed. These may have been towed there, maybe not. You know, I don't know about this particular one. I don't know which one that this fellow saw.
7 blocks away, there were cars.
Right, and these particular, the damage pattern on these though is what is so intriguing. That this one, you know, you see on one side of it, the front end is completely toasted. What I mean by toasted is it's toast, it's history. We don't know what happened to it. You don't want to say burnt, because that's making an assumption. When you call it something, you bias your observation, you assume it's burnt. And this could have been something entirely different. Like, for example, look at the lights on the top. They're not melted.
Intact.
They're not melted, so could there have been heat involved? And why did it abruptly stop at the door?
Why did it? How can these, is this the longitudinal wave patterns you're talking about, or what is this?
It's important to just observe, but one thing we do know about this is that you have rubber gaskets around the door. You know, maybe there's some electrical component to it. And on the other side, yes, you notice that the gas tank is intact and the tires are intact there, and you have this circular spot. It's almost like it was photographically masked off. Aha, you start thinking of energy interference and why you get something abruptly happening one place and not another. Fire does not have an abrupt stop like that. You have black, white, and shades of gray in between. But to have an abrupt thing, it's, you know, usually some kind of energy interfering that does that.
What are we looking at here?
This is on West Broadway. This bus got toasted. You know,
and how far is West Broadway from there?
It's just north of the complex.
Okay.
You can see Building 7 off in the distance. But what is interesting is, can you find any scorch marks on this bus?
No, not really.
Where'd the flames happen from? The difference between the toasted cars from 9/11 and of fire damage. The lower left-hand corner is from 9/11. Notice that the lip that you put the windshield on, that the seats into, is completely clean. And the car looks like it was almost sandblasted, ready for a new paint job. It doesn't have black scorch marks, doesn't have you know, a bunch of broken glass left in the corners.
Again, that's the hallmark. There are no scorch marks. There are no marks of fire. Right.
It's a different type of thing. Here's another set where the inside of a burnt car is, there's a lot of stuff left over, you know, half burnt inside. But the toasted cars from 9/11 is absolutely nothing left inside, except maybe trash that somebody later, you know, tossed in.
Again, it's like it, in another parlance, evaporated and simply disappeared.
Yeah. Just gone. And you see paper that's not burnt. And so we know
lying on the street next to the toasted cars.
Right.
A lot of paper. And that's one thing people did comment on was, how did this happen, all of this fire, yet you have paper fluttering out from these buildings and lying intact on the street?
I'd like to show this, where this is a car park, you know, a couple blocks from the towers. The white you see in the ground looks like snow. That's paper, unburned paper. And you see some flames, it looks like flames, coming out of the vehicles. And those vehicles weren't towed there. You can see where they were. You know, they were at that distance from the towers. Before they're toasted. And then they became toasted. There's a closer view of them again. And there's a black car out in the drive, you know, the aisle there, that I thought was a white car later, because I first saw the toasted one. And there the people are running from the scene. The cars still aren't toasted yet. And then they're toasted.
Do you have any idea what the time lapse was from the time the people were running away and the towers disintegrating and then the toasting of the cars?
The vehicles, according to first responders and also the various images I've looked at, they lit up, you know, appeared to be on fire. They lit up immediately after the towers turned to dust.
Okay.
Not while, but immediately afterwards.
So something was expanding outward?
Or something, or an after effect occurred, without making assumptions as to what caused it. It was while the dust cloud was rolling down, but it wasn't necessarily the dust cloud that did it. And if we look at how this has been replicated in John Hutchison's lab, he's got a video of a toy boat on water, and you can tell when he has his gizmo turned on because the water's jumping up.
Right.
It's levitating and dropping back down. And when he turns the gizmo off, the plastic boat goes into spontaneous combustion. It lights up.
Interesting.
It's like right after it turns off, sort of like something is left out of equilibrium.